Okay, so there's some questions here about the program and like the length it took to finish. I will quickly give a brief overview before you all start saying CJ and throwing acronyms here and there. So Avocademy has the UX UI Foundations program that can be done anywhere from 4 to 16 weeks. Now we have different kind of timelines for you. Once you finish that, you can apply to the Career Jumpstart program. And during the Career Jumpstart program, you do work on some real world projects, and then we help you find a job. There's like a job search phase to it. So with that background, and Career Jumpstart is abbreviated as CJ, which you'll hear probably folks refer to as the CJ program. So there's a question here about how hard was the program and how long did it take to finish? So Courtney, if you want to maybe say like, when did you start Foundations? When did you start CJ? And then how long it took you to find a job? And then if you want to talk about how hard it was, you can throw that in there as well.
Sure. So I started Foundations October of last year, and then I didn't finish until April 2020, but that was not all Foundations. I decided to quit my assistant job while I was in the middle of it because I just really wanted to focus on UX. So I took a little bit of a break in between. I would say it probably took like a little bit over the 3 months, like if I take out my break. And then Career Jumpstart, I did from April to, I guess, end of September. And then the job search was from the end of June through the end of September. I didn't find Foundations super difficult. It's definitely a lot to learn and it's a lot of reading. So you have to be pretty self-disciplined, but I just found it to be really fun and interesting. And I think that was kind of how I knew that it was something I should really seriously pursue, because I was just finding it so fun and interesting and it didn't feel like work. And I'll pass it to Blaine.
All right. So my journey was pretty quick. I'm very surprised, but also thankful for Avocademy and CJ. I started Foundations in February 2022. I'm looking down because I took notes here on when I did this, but I completed Foundations in July of 2022. It did take me time. I was working full time and doing the Foundations course at the same time. And I say this because it is doable. A lot of people have questions in terms of if they can balance a full-time job while taking an additional course. I think it's doable. And like Courtney said, being disciplined and willing to do the work will help you. And you also have a support system of mentors and other students doing the exact same thing. So that will carry you on throughout the Foundations course. My job search took about 6 weeks, believe it or not. It was a hard 6 weeks, but I will say I'm thankful for CJ and the portfolio building aspect and the real client work that you'll be getting really contributed to my success. So yeah, I did that from February until I got my job in October 2022.
So
and I'll pass it over.
Months is that like eight months?
About 8 months.
Start to finish, yeah.
Yep, start to
and
finish.
You found your job through a past CJ grad, right? Like that was the story, yeah. So we had a past CJ grad leave their current job, let us know, and then we submitted Blaine for the job, and that's how you ended up at the current.
And I will say CJ did help me with that reference and connecting me with an alumni, and that could be your path as well. And I'm really thankful for that. So I'll pass it over to Kelly.
Hello. So I did Foundations. I started I think January 7th, like very early on. I finished Foundations late March, and I actually could have finished earlier, but I really took the time to, utilize the unlimited mentorship. And so I was bugging all the mentors, like, look at my screens, like make sure the pixel perfect. I really wanted to hone in on my skills, because the jump from Foundations to Career Jumpstart is huge. You work with clients, so you actually have to make sure everything's perfect. You can't technically, you have to really try to make sure that you are, self-sufficient and independent and really able to look at these designs, because the turnaround in Foundations is around 8 weeks, but the turnaround in Career Jumpstart can be 4 to 6 weeks, and you're working with different people, which technically saves you time, but there's just so many things happening at once that you really have to have a good handle on things. I was not employed during the time I was in Foundations, so I spent about 8 hours a day, and I was really reiterating things to the point that my mentors were like, it's fine, Kelly. I'm like, but I can change this one thing. But anyway, so I started Career Jumpstart in April. And then I finished my portfolio in middle of May. I took a vacation. I needed to visit my grandma. And then I did during that time. And then after that, I came back. I did another project the entirety of June, and then I actually started job searching late June. And then there's a whole issue about this. If you join Career Jumpstart, Maka will warn you against my mistake. But I basically made a huge mistake, which kind of slowed me down. But after we fixed that, I got a bunch of interviews. I did about 45 interviews in the span of 2.5 months. And then I got 2 offers.